The galactic stage. Humans emerge as an unexpected power. The vast expanse of space stretched before Captain Elena Rodriguez as she stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant. Stars twinkled in the distance, a serene backdrop to the tense atmosphere aboard the human vessel. Elena's eyes were fixed on the tactical display, watching as a fleet of Zarkonian warships approached Earth's outer defense perimeter. "Status report," Elena barked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Lieutenant Commander Jax, a tall, lanky officer with cybernetic implants lining his temples, responded without looking up from his console. "Zarkonian fleet holding position just outside weapons range, Captain. No change in their formation or energy signatures." Elena nodded, her mind racing through possible scenarios. The Zarkonians, a militaristic species known for their aggressive expansion, had been pushing deeper into human-controlled space for months. This was the closest they'd ever come to Earth itself. "Open a channel," Elena ordered. "Let's see what they want before things get ugly." As the communications officer worked to establish a link, Elena couldn't help but reflect on how quickly humanity had found itself thrust onto the galactic stage. It had been barely 2 decades since first contact, and in that time, humans had gone from a species confined to their solar system to a fledgling interstellar power. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Zarkonian Fleet Commander Vexthor. His leathery, gray skin was adorned with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed with an eerie blue light. 4 obsidian eyes regarded Elena with a mix of curiosity and disdain. "Human vessel." Vexthor's translator conveyed his guttural speech. "You stand in the way of Zarkonian expansion. Your species is young, your technology primitive. Stand down and surrender your world, or face annihilation." Elena felt a surge of anger at the alien's arrogance, but she kept her expression neutral. "Commander Vexthor, I am Captain Elena Rodriguez of the United Earth Ship Defiant. We have no quarrel with the Zarkonian Empire, but we will defend our home with everything we have. I urge you to reconsider your actions." Vexthor's mouth twisted into what Elena assumed was a sneer. "Your bravery is admirable, but misplaced. Our scans show your defenses are no match for our fleet. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." As Elena opened her mouth to respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Lieutenant Commander Jax's voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, multiple Zarkonian vessels powering weapons. Shields up. Battle stations." Elena shouted, her training kicking in. She turned back to the view screen, but Vexthor had already cut the transmission. "So much for diplomacy," she muttered. The space around the Defiant erupted in a dazzling display of weapons fire. Zarkonian energy beams lanced out, impacting the ship's shields with tremendous force. The bridge shook, but the expected catastrophic damage didn't come. "Shields holding at 95%, Captain," Jax reported, a note of surprise in his voice. "Their weapons, they're not as effective as we thought they'd be." Elena allowed herself a small smile. The Zarkonians, it seemed, had underestimated humanity's technological prowess. "Return fire," she ordered. "All batteries, concentrate on their lead ship." The Defiant's newly developed quantum pulse cannons roared to life, sending brilliant beams of energy streaking across space. The Zarkonian flagship's shields flared and then collapsed under the onslaught, leaving the vessel vulnerable. "Direct hit," Jax exclaimed. "Enemy flagship's primary systems are offline. They're dead in space, Captain." The bridge crew cheered, but Elena knew the battle was far from over. "Don't get cocky," she warned. "There's still a whole fleet out there. Communications, get me Admiral Chen at Earth Defense Command. We're going to need reinforcements." As the battle raged on, news of the conflict spread across Earth and its colonies. Humanity, long considered a minor player in galactic affairs, was holding its own against one of the most feared military powers in known space. In laboratories and shipyards across human-controlled space, scientists and engineers worked feverishly to unlock the full potential of their latest technological breakthroughs. Project Prometheus, a highly classified research initiative, had yielded advancements that were leveling the playing field against older, more established species. Back on the bridge of the Defiant, Alina watched as more human ships joined the fray. The Zarkonian fleet, caught off guard by the effectiveness of Earth's defenses, began to falter. "Captain," Jax called out, "I'm picking up communications chatter from the Zarkonian ships. They're calling for a retreat." Alina could hardly believe it. "Confirm that, Lieutenant Commander. Are they really falling back?" Jax nodded emphatically. "Affirmative, Captain. Zarkonian vessels are powering up their FTL drives. They're bugging out." As the enemy fleet disappeared into hyperspace, leaving behind their crippled flagship, a stunned silence fell over the bridge. Then, slowly, it gave way to cheers and congratulations. Alina allowed her crew a moment of celebration before bringing them back to focus. "All right, people, good work. But this isn't over. The Zarkonians will be back, and next time they won't underestimate us. We need to be ready." In the following days, news of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Species that had dismissed humans as upstart primitives now regarded them with a mix of fear and respect. The balance of power was shifting, and Earth found itself at the center of a rapidly changing galactic landscape. As Alina sat in her quarters, reviewing reports from the battle, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Humanity had revealed its hand, showcasing technology that rivaled or surpassed that of species who had been traversing the stars for millennia. There would be consequences, allies to be made, and new enemies to face. The quantum communicator on her desk chimed, indicating a priority message from Earth Defense Command. Admiral Chen's holographic form materialized before her, his expression grave. "Captain Rodriguez," he began, "first, let me commend you and your crew on your exemplary performance. You've done humanity proud." He paused, his next words carrying the weight of their new reality. "But our victory has stirred up a hornet's nest. The Galactic Council is demanding explanations, the Zarkonians are calling for blood, and half a dozen other species are clamoring for alliances or making thinly veiled threats." Alina nodded, absorbing the information. "What are our orders, Admiral?" Chen's hologram flickered slightly as he leaned forward. "We're deploying the fleet, Captain. The Defiant will lead a task force to our border with Zarkonian space. Show the flag, but don't provoke unless provoked. We need time to consolidate our position and decide our next move." "Understood, sir," Alina replied, her mind already racing with the implications of her new mission. As the communication ended, Alina stood and walked to the viewport in her quarters. The vastness of space stretched out before her, no longer just a frontier to be explored, but an arena where humanity would have to fight for its place among the stars. The next few months would be crucial. Humanity had shocked the galaxy with its unexpected technological leap, but now came the real test. Could they leverage this advantage to secure their future, or would they become victims of their own success? Alina's hand unconsciously moved to the insignia on her uniform, tracing the stylized phoenix that had become humanity's symbol in the stars. Like the mythical bird, her species had risen from the ashes of obscurity to claim its place in the cosmos. Now they would have to prove they deserved it. As the Defiant prepared for its new mission, Alina couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and apprehension. The galaxy was watching, waiting to see what humanity would do next. And she, along with every other human venturing into the stars, carried the weight of that responsibility. The battle against the Zarkonians had been won, but the war for humanity's future was just beginning. With determination in her heart and the vastness of space before her, Alina Rodriguez prepared to lead her ship and her species into the unknown. Project Prometheus unveiled, the secret weapon that changes everything. Dr. Arya Patel stood before the holographic display, her dark eyes scanning the complex schematics floating in the air. The secure laboratory deep beneath the Himalayan mountains hummed with activity as scientists and engineers worked tirelessly on humanity's greatest technological achievement, Project Prometheus. "Dr. Patel," a voice called from across the room. "We've just received word from the front. The Zarkonians have launched another offensive." Arya turned to face her colleague, Dr. Marcus Chen. His usually calm demeanor was tinged with worry. "How bad is it?" she asked, dreading the answer. Marcus swiped his hand through the air, bringing up a tactical display of the border skirmish. "They've adapted their weapons to partially penetrate our quantum shields. Captain Rodriguez and the Defiant are holding the line, but they're taking heavy damage." Arya's jaw clenched. The Zarkonians were nothing if not persistent. In the months since their first defeat at Earth, they had regrouped and studied human technology, looking for weaknesses to exploit. It was a race against time, and Project Prometheus was humanity's ace in the hole. "We're close, Marcus," Arya said, turning back to her work. "The graviton manipulation matrix is stable, and the dark energy catalysts are performing beyond our initial projections. We just need a little more time." As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red warning lights bathed the laboratory in an eerie glow. "Security breach in Sector 7. A computerized voice announced. "Unknown hostiles have infiltrated the base." Arya and Marcus exchanged alarmed glances. "They're here for Prometheus," Arya said, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus nodded grimly. "We need to initiate Protocol Omega if they get their hands on this technology." He didn't need to finish the thought. If Prometheus fell into enemy hands, it could mean the end of human independence, perhaps even the extinction of their species. Arya's fingers flew across her console, initiating emergency protocols. "All personnel, this is Dr. Patel. Enact Protocol Omega immediately. This is not a drill." Throughout the facility, blast doors slammed shut, and defense turrets emerged from hidden compartments. The non-essential staff began emergency evacuation procedures, while security teams moved to engage the intruders. In the heart of the lab, Arya and her core team worked frantically to safeguard their research. "Upload everything to the quantum-encrypted servers," she ordered. "Then wipe the local systems. Nothing can fall into enemy hands." As the upload progressed, the sounds of battle drew nearer. Energy weapons discharge, and the dull thud of explosions reverberated through the mountain. Marcus approached Arya, his face grim. "They're getting closer. We need to make a decision about the prototype." Arya looked at the device sitting on a nearby workbench. It was smaller than she had initially envisioned, about the size of a basketball. Its polished surface seemed to absorb light, giving it an otherworldly appearance. This was the culmination of years of work, the key to humanity's survival among the stars. "We can't let them have it," Arya said, her voice filled with determination. "And we can't destroy it. You know what we have to do." Marcus nodded, understanding the implication. "It's not fully tested. The risks are less than the risk of losing this war," Arya finished. She placed her hand on the device, feeling a slight vibration beneath her palm. "Initiate startup sequence. We're taking this show on the road." As Marcus began the activation process, the lab's doors buckled under a powerful explosion. Through the smoke and debris, Arya caught a glimpse of their attackers. They weren't Zarkonian as she had expected, but Vrek, a species known for their mercenary work and advanced stealth technology. "Hands where we can see them. Humans," the lead Vrek snarled, its translator struggling to convey the menace in its voice. "Step away from the device." Arya raised her hand slowly, her mind racing. The Prometheus device hummed softly behind her, its power building. She just needed to buy a little more time. "You don't know what you're dealing with," Arya said, addressing the Vrek leader. "This technology is unstable. One wrong move and it could level this entire mountain range." The Vrek hesitated, its compound eyes darting between Arya and the device. That moment of uncertainty was all she needed. With a subtle nod to Marcus, Aria dove to the side. In that instant, Marcus slammed his hand down on the activation panel. The Prometheus device pulsed with energy, creating a localized gravitational distortion that sent the Vrek intruders flying across the room. Aria scrambled to her feet, grabbing the now fully activated device. "Marcus, with me," she shouted over the chaos. They sprinted through the lab's emergency exit, the Prometheus device clutched tightly in Aria's arms. Behind them, they could hear the Vrek recovering, their angry shouts echoing through the corridors. As they raced through the twisting tunnels of the facility, Aria's mind whirled with possibilities. The device in her arms represented humanity's best hope for survival, but it was also a terrible responsibility. Its power, if fully unleashed, could reshape the very fabric of space-time. They emerged from the mountain into the crisp Himalayan air. A stealth shuttle was waiting, its engines already primed for takeoff. "Where to?" Marcus asked as they strapped themselves in. Aria looked down at the Prometheus device, its surface now glowing with an inner light. "We need to get this to the front lines. Contact Captain Rodriguez and the Defiant. Tell them salvation is on its way." As the shuttle rocketed into the sky, cloaking systems engaged, Aria allowed herself a moment of reflection. The galaxy thought they knew what humanity was capable of, but they had no idea what was coming. Project Prometheus wasn't just a weapon. It was a key to unlocking the fundamental forces of the universe itself. The Zarkonians, the Vrek, and any other species that thought to subjugate humanity were in for a rude awakening. The rules of the game were about to change, and Earth was holding all the cards. As the shuttle broke atmosphere, heading for the embattled human fleet, Aria cradled the Prometheus device. "Hold on, Captain Rodriguez," she whispered. "The cavalry's coming, and we're bringing the big guns." In the vastness of space, unaware of the revolutionary technology racing towards them, the human fleet continued its desperate battle against the Zarkonian armada. Little did either side know that the arrival of Project Prometheus would forever alter the balance of power in the galaxy. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the very future of interstellar civilization. And at the center of it all was a device that defied the laws of physics as the galaxy understood them, a testament to human ingenuity and the indomitable spirit of a species fighting for its right to exist among the stars. As the shuttle carrying Aria, Marcus, and the Prometheus device sped towards the battlefield, the true test of humanity's resolve and the full potential of their groundbreaking technology was about to begin. The galaxy held its breath, unaware that it stood on the precipice of a new era, one that would be shaped by the ambitions and fears of a species that refused to go quietly into the night. Alliances and betrayals. The galaxy reacts to humanity's rise. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with tension. Representatives from 100 different species filled the tiered seats, their conversations a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and translated speech. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Zara Ishikawa, Earth's representative to the Council, her composed demeanor belying the storm of emotions within. "Order. We will have order." The booming voice of High Counselor Silith, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate exosuit, cut through the din. As silence fell, all eyes turned to the human standing before them. Zara took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice steady and clear, "I stand before you today to address the concerns raised about Earth's recent technological advancements, particularly in light of the Zarkonian conflict." A ripple of murmurs swept through the chamber. The Zarkonian representative, Graktor, leaned forward, his mandibles clicking in agitation. "Concerns," he spat. "Your species has violated numerous treaties by developing weapons of mass destruction. The attack on our fleet was an act of self-defense." Zara cut in, her eyes narrowing. Need I remind the Council that it was the Zarkonian Empire that invaded sovereign human space? We merely protected our borders with the means at our disposal. High Counselor Silith's exosuit hummed as he processed the information. Ambassador Ishikawa. While the Council acknowledges Earth's right to self-defense, the level of technology displayed in recent engagements far exceeds what your species should possess, given your short time on the galactic stage. We must ask, how did humans make such a leap? Zara felt the weight of 100 alien gazes upon her. This was the moment of truth, the crossroads that would determine humanity's place in the cosmic order. She thought of Captain Rodriguez, still holding the line against the Zarkonian fleet, of Dr. Patel and the Prometheus device racing across space to turn the tide of battle, of the billions of humans back on Earth, looking to the stars with hope and fear. Members of the Council, Zara said, her voice resonating with conviction. Humanity has always been defined by our ability to innovate, to push boundaries, to achieve the impossible. The technology we now possess is the result of our own research and development, born from the pressing need to survive in a hostile galaxy. The chamber erupted in a mix of outrage and disbelief. The Vrek representative, Schlick, rose from his seat, his scales bristling. Impossible. No species could advance so quickly without outside help. The humans must have stolen this technology, perhaps from the ancient ruins on Proxima Centauri IV. Zara stood her ground, unflinching in the face of the accusations. We categorically deny any theft of technology. Our advancements are our own, the fruit of human ingenuity and determination. As the debate raged on, a message flashed across Zora's secure comm device. Her eyes widened slightly as she read its contents. The Prometheus device had reached the front lines. It was time to play their final card. Esteemed Council members, Zara said, raising her voice above the commotion, if you require proof of humanity's capabilities, I invite you all to observe. At this very moment, our fleet is engaging the Zarkonian armada. Watch and see for yourselves what humans are truly capable of. With a gesture, Zara activated the chamber's holographic display. The ongoing battle between human and Zarkonian forces sprang to life before the assembled aliens. At first, it seemed the humans were on the verge of defeat, their ships battered and their lines faltering. Then, everything changed. A small, nondescript vessel emerged from hyperspace near the human fleet. From it, a pulse of energy unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen erupted. It enveloped the human ships, and suddenly they were moving with impossible speed and precision. Their weapons' fire curved around obstacles, striking Zarkonian vessels with unerring accuracy. Space itself seemed to warp and bend at the humans' will. The council chamber fell into stunned silence as they watched the Zarkonian fleet, once on the verge of victory, crumble before this display of power. Ships were torn apart by gravitational forces, others simply winked out of existence, transported to unknown reaches of space. As the last Zarkonian vessel fled or fell, Zara turned back to the council, her expression solemn. What you have witnessed is but a fraction of what Project Prometheus is capable of. We did not seek this conflict, but we will use every tool at our disposal to defend ourselves and our allies. The implications of her words hung heavy in the air. Humanity was no longer just an upstart species. They were a force to be reckoned with, possessing technology that could reshape the very fabric of the galaxy. High Counselor Silith's exosuit crackled with energy, a sign of agitation. Ambassador Ishikawa, the Council must convene to discuss this development. But know this, the balance of power in the galaxy has shifted. There will be consequences. As the Council members filed out, a mix of fear and awe on their alien faces, Zara felt a presence at her side. She turned to see Lyrax, the Andromedan representative, and one of the few aliens she considered a friend. Impressive display, Zara, Lyrax said, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with excitement. But you've painted a target on your species' back. Half the galaxy will want to ally with you. The other half will want to destroy you before you become too powerful. Zara nodded, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. "We're aware of the risks, Lorax, but we can't go back now. Humanity's fate lies among the stars, for better or worse." As they left the chamber, Zora's comm device chimed again. It was a message from Earth Defense Command. Project Prometheus successful. Zarkonian threat neutralized. But unknown energy signatures detected near Sol system. Possible new hostile incoming. Return to Earth immediately. Zara's heart raced as she read the message. They had won a great victory today, but the real challenge was just beginning. Humanity had revealed its hand, and now the galaxy would respond. As her ship prepared for the journey back to Earth, Zora couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of either a golden age or utter destruction. The stars seemed to watch with anticipation as humanity took its first steps as a true galactic power. The age of obscurity was over. Now, the real test would begin. The battle for Earth, humanity's ultimate test. The skies above Earth blazed with the fury of battle. Streaks of energy crisscrossed the void, punctuated by blossoming explosions as ships from a dozen species clashed in the ultimate struggle for control of humanity's homeworld. Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, her face illuminated by the tactical holograms surrounding her. The ship shuddered as another volley of enemy fire impacted their shields. "Status report," Elena barked, her eyes never leaving the display. Lieutenant Commander Jax's fingers danced across his console, shields holding at 62%. "Admiral, the Prometheus field is still stable, but we're detecting anomalies in the local space-time fabric. We can't keep this up indefinitely." Elena nodded grimly. The battle had been raging for days, with more alien fleets arriving by the hour. Some came as allies, drawn by the promise of shared Prometheus technology. Others sought to destroy humanity before they could fully harness their newfound power. "Admiral," a young ensign called out, her voice tinged with panic. "We're detecting a massive energy surge from the Horrific flagship. They're charging their main cannon." Elena's mind raced. The Horrific were known for their planet-killer weapons, capable of cracking a world's crust with a single shot. If that blast hit Earth, divert all power to the Prometheus field. Elena ordered. "We need to create a gravitational lens. Bend that energy away from Earth." As the crew scrambled to comply, Elena opened a channel to Dr. Arya Patel, who was coordinating the Prometheus network from a secure facility on the moon. "Arya, we need more power," Elena said, the strain evident in her voice. "The Horrific are about to fire their main cannon. If we don't stop it, Earth is finished." Arya's hologram flickered into view, her face etched with worry. "We're already pushing the system to its limits, Elena. If we draw any more power, we risk tearing a hole in the fabric of space-time itself." Elena's jaw clenched. "We don't have a choice. It's a risk we have to take." For a moment, Arya hesitated. Then, with a nod, she turned to her team off-screen. "Initiate Protocol Omega. Channel all available power to the Defiance Prometheus field." The ship hummed with newfound energy as the Prometheus device pulsed with blinding light. Elena felt a strange sensation, as if reality itself was bending around them. "Horrific weapon firing," Jax shouted. A beam of devastating energy lanced out from the alien flagship, aimed directly at Earth's heart. But as it approached the Defiant, the impossible happened. The beam curved, twisting in on itself as if caught in an invisible whirlpool. "It's working," someone on the bridge exclaimed. Elena watched in awe as the Horrific's planet-killer blast was redirected, curving around Earth in a dazzling display of light and energy before shooting off into deep space. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Elena's relief was short-lived. Alarms blared as new warnings flashed across the tactical displays. "Multiple spatial ruptures detected," Jax reported, his voice tight with concern. "The Prometheus field. It's destabilizing local space-time." Elena watched in horror as rifts began to open in the fabric of space around them. Ships from both sides of the conflict were being pulled in, disappearing into the unknown. The very stars seemed to shimmer and distort. "Area," Elena called out. "We need to shut it down." But Aria's hologram was flickering wildly, her words coming through broken and distorted. "Can't. Containment failing. Breach in progress." Suddenly, a blinding flash of light engulfed the Defiant. Elena felt a sensation of falling, of being stretched and compressed simultaneously. The universe seemed to fold in on itself, reality twisting into impossible shapes. And then, darkness. When Elena opened her eyes, she found herself still on the bridge of the Defiant. But something was wrong. The stars outside the viewscreen were unfamiliar, arranged in patterns she had never seen before. "Status report," she managed, her voice hoarse. Jax, looking as disoriented as she felt, checked his instruments. "All systems operational, Admiral. But I don't know where we are. These star patterns don't match anything in our database." As the crew worked to ascertain their position, a startling realization dawned on Elena. They hadn't just been moved in space. Somehow, the Prometheus field had catapulted them across time as well. "Admiral," one of the science officers called out, her voice filled with wonder. "I'm picking up transmissions. They're in thousands of different languages, most unknown to us. But there's one that keeps repeating in a language we recognize." "Let's hear it," Elena said, bracing herself for whatever revelation awaited them. The message played through the ship's speakers, and Elena felt a chill run down her spine as she listened. "To all sentient beings of the galaxy, this is a historic broadcast from New Earth, capital of the United Galactic Confederation. Today marks the 10,000th anniversary of the Great Shift, when our ancestors' use of Prometheus technology catapulted humanity and its allies across space and time, ushering in an era of unprecedented peace and advancement. We honor those brave souls who sacrificed everything to defend Earth and inadvertently paved the way for our bright future. To those heroes lost in time, know that your legacy lives on." Silence fell over the bridge as the magnitude of their situation sank in. They had not just won a battle. They had altered the very course of galactic history. Elena looked out at the unfamiliar stars, a mix of emotions swirling within her. They had saved Earth and seemingly secured a bright future for humanity. But at what cost? They were stranded millennia from their own time, in a galaxy forever changed by their actions. As the crew of the Defiant grappled with their new reality, Elena realized that their greatest adventure was just beginning. They had a new mission now, to explore this future they had helped create, to learn from it, and perhaps find a way back to their own time to ensure that this better future would come to pass. The battle for Earth was over, but humanity's journey among the stars, that was just getting started. A new era dawns, reshaping the galactic order. The UES Defiant hung in orbit around a planet that was both familiar and alien. Earth, but not as they had known it. 10,000 years of progress had transformed their homeworld into a glittering jewel, its continents reshaped, its cities reaching into the stratosphere. Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood before her assembled crew in the Defiant's main hangar bay. Faces looked back at her with a mix of awe, confusion, and trepidation. They had saved their world, but at the cost of everything and everyone they had ever known. "I know you're all struggling to come to terms with our situation," Elena began, her voice echoing through the cavernous space. "We've been thrust into a future beyond our wildest imaginations. But I want you all to remember this. We are still Starfleet. Our mission to explore, to learn, and to protect hasn't changed. It's just expanded beyond anything we could have conceived." As Elena spoke, Dr. Arya Patel worked furiously at a console nearby, analyzing the wealth of data they'd received since arriving in this new era. She caught the Admiral's eye and gave a subtle nod. They had made contact. "We've been invited to meet with the leadership of the United Galactic Confederation," Elena continued. "They're understandably curious about us, living relics from their founding myth. We'll form a delegation to represent not just Earth, but our entire era. The rest of you will continue to analyze our situation and maintain the Defiant. We may be visitors here, but we're still a Starfleet vessel, and I expect nothing but the best from each of you." As the crew dispersed to their duties, Alina approached Aria. "What have you found out?" she asked in a low voice. Aria's eyes sparkled with excitement. "It's incredible, Alina. The Prometheus technology didn't just move us through time and space. It seems to have created a sort of temporal wake. Our actions, our very presence here, is retroactively stabilizing the timeline that led to this future." Alina frowned. "You're saying we were always meant to come here? That this future was inevitable?" "Not exactly," Aria clarified. "It's more like, by arriving here, we've collapsed infinite potential futures into this specific one. And now that we're here, causality is rewriting itself to ensure this is the outcome that always happened." Before Alina could fully process the implications, a shimmering portal opened in the hangar bay. A figure stepped through, humanoid, but with an ethereal quality that hinted at extensive genetic engineering, or perhaps melding with advanced technology. "Greetings, travelers," the being said, its voice melodious and androgynous. "I am Zephyr, Archon of the United Galactic Confederation. We've been expecting you for a very long time." Alina stepped forward, squaring her shoulders. "Archon Zephyr, I am Admiral Alina Rodriguez of the United Earth ship Defiant. We come in peace and with many questions." Zephyr smiled, a gesture both familiar and alien. "And we have answers to give, Admiral. But first, let me welcome you home. Your actions, or should I say, the actions you are about to take, laid the foundation for 10 millennia of peace and prosperity across the galaxy." As Alina and her delegation stepped through the portal, they found themselves in a vast chamber that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. Beings of all shapes and sizes were gathered, some recognizable as evolved versions of species they knew, others completely alien. "Honored representatives of the Confederation," Zephyr announced, "I present to you the Prometheus crew, the founders of our era of peace." A ripple of awe passed through the assembled beings. Alina felt the weight of history, both past and future, pressing down on her. "Admiral Rodriguez," Zephyr continued, "you and your crew have a choice to make. We have the technology to return you to your own time if you wish. But know that your presence here is what ensures the timeline remains stable. If you choose to return, you risk undoing everything that has been built." Alina looked at her crew, saw the conflict in their eyes. They had a chance to go home, to see their loved ones again. But could they risk undoing this golden age of peace and prosperity? Before Alina could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. A holographic display sprang to life, showing a massive distortion in spacetime, far larger than anything they had encountered before. Zephyr's face paled. "It's the entropy wave. We've detected it across multiple timelines, erasing entire civilizations from existence. We thought we had more time." Alina straightened, her decision made in an instant. "You said we were the founders of this era. Then let us earn that title. The Defiant and her crew stand ready to help in any way we can." Zephyr nodded gratefully. "Then let us face this threat together. Past, present, and future united." As the chamber erupted into action, Alina felt a surge of determination. They had been brought to this time for a reason. The battle for Earth might have been won, but the fight for the very existence of life in the galaxy was just beginning. The Defiant crew, armed with their ingenuity and the advanced technology of this new era, prepared to face their greatest challenge yet. They had shaped the future once before. Now, they would fight to ensure that future had a chance to exist at all. As Alina looked out at the swirling chaos of the space-time distortion, she realized that humanity's journey was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. With the wisdom of the past and the technology of the future, they would face this threat and any others that came their way. For in this vast, ever-changing universe, one thing remained constant: the indomitable spirit of humanity. reaching ever outward, ever onward, to the infinite possibilities that awaited among the stars. The end, or perhaps just a new beginning.